are in Athens to close out another weekend of SEC gymnastics. So looking forward to this one. A top 10 battle between number 9 Georgia hosting the 10th ranked Kentucky Wildcats here inside Stegeman Coliseum. Two teams that are very much in good shape for the SEC championship. You have to be in the top 8, only one team left out. And with a very strong Friday night performance against Arkansas, Alabama has jumped over the Razorbacks. You got to finish in the top 4 in order to be in the evening session. That's what Georgia is trying to get to. So a lot on the line here tonight. With 4-time national champion Anastasia Webb, I'm Alex Pearlman. And Anastasia, these are two teams in kind of similar positions, both looking to drop some low scores as we go to the postseason.
I mean, it is 9 versus 10. It's going to be a fierce competition tonight, Alex. But this Kentucky team, they've been so consistent this season, but they haven't been getting the scores that they've been wanting. And then we got Georgia with this leadership change and this coaching change. It's really elevated this program. And when I walked into this arena, I can tell you, these athletes are just oozing with confidence.
Yeah, there's a different feeling around this program right now, and it is absolutely translating to what they've been able to do in competition. They've improved in all 4 events, and then look at overall, they've jumped from 18th all the way into the top 10, 9th currently. That's the first time they've been inside the top 10 since 2020. And they've been getting some real contributions from all throughout the lineup. And Anya Turner named the SEC Co-Specialist of the Week.
Anya Turner, she just scored a near-perfect 10 last week, setting a season high. She is a standout beam specialist for Georgia. Her execution and her extension on leaps are simply unmatched. Every movement is a showcase of precision. And then we got Isabella Magnelli. As head coach Tim Garrison says, she is the light of this team. She has scored 9 nines and higher on her last 3 seasons. She's a powerhouse of aggressive, elite, explosive gymnastics, one of the best beam workers in the entire country. And she just brings this fierce edge on every single apparatus, and performance is a must-watch.
And we will see her on every event but bars. Has been such a massive part of this Kentucky team. There's Tim Garrison in year number 14, the real architect of what the Wildcats have become. So consistent, as you mentioned, 4 straight scores of 197 plus, but they're really looking to break into the mid 197s. Their season high just a 197.3 this year. All right, here we go. Georgia on vault. Nia Howard to lead things off in her familiar spot.
She'll be doing a Yurchenko full. Starts off with a 9.95 start value. She did look a little bit disappointed on that because of that step backwards. I would have loved to see her absorb that landing a little bit more. But overall, great start for the Georgia Gym Dogs.
Georgia team that is ranked number 16 in the country on vault. Kentucky will begin on bars with the Bowling Green transfer Isabella Ravelli, the junior from Bartlett, Illinois. They dropped her 9.75 last week to start off.
And watch this right here. She's very unique with that blind half, swings that arm, and catches that high bar clearly with straight arms. That's exactly what the judges are looking for. Beautiful double layout in the air. She tried a little bit too hard on that landing, which resulted in that little stutter step. But watch how high she catches with straight arms right down to the low bar. Perfect execution. And just watch this dismount right here. Watch her feet and her legs. Tries to keep them glued together. And just that little shuffle on the landing.
Jeffrey Scott, now the junior from Kansas City. To her club gymnastics at Gage as we wait on Nia Howard's score to come in. This is another 9.95 start value. For Howard, it was a 9.725 to lead off.
Watch how she pops off the table. She's one of the best full vaulters in the country because of her height and her distance. Again, what's really going to make a difference are those landings. Watch that pop. Beautiful in the air. Just that little slide on that step backwards. Would have loved to see her absorb that landing a little bit more.
Freshman Ryan Noonan from Del Mar, California, following up the junior Ravelli. her first bars routine since early February, replacing Cecily Rizzo in this lineup. Just waiting to get the go-ahead here as we anticipate Ravelli's score. The highest 5 scores on each apparatus count, with 6 gymnasts to go in each event, means that you can drop 1, you drop the lowest score, and the other 5 are the ones that contribute to the score on each event, which starts at 50 and gets deducted from there. All right, Jeffrey Scott's score is in at 9.8. And Isabella Ravelli started with a 9.775. Here is Ryan Noonan.
Just a freshman, but such a consistent athlete. You can see that right there. She held that handstand. Could have been a lot of a bigger mistake, but she held on to it. Judges are looking for those handstands to hit right on top. You do have a 10-degree window. And just that step forward on the dismount. I know, talking to head coach Tim Garrison, he's really looking forward to these athletes to pay a little bit more attention on their landings. That's what's really going to make the difference moving forward into the postseason, especially at the SEC Championship. Right there, just that step.
Nyla Keenan, a very talented freshman from Boston. You'll see this is a 10.0 start value. This vault called a Souk Full.
This is such a difficult vault, and she's just got so much power. You can see she's a little bit disappointed on that. These Georgia Gym Dogs are really trying to pay attention to those landings. Watch how quick she gets from the board to the table. It's the most important aspect of this vault. And she's just got so much power. I would have loved to see her flare those arms out so she can find her landing onto the floor.
All right, Haley Davis now, the 5th-year gymnast from New Bern, North Carolina. Bars is an area that Tim Garrison has been a little bit disappointed in, to be honest with you. Well below where they want to be, only ranked 16th in the country, and a team that has traditionally really excelled at bars. Differences right now are the handstands and the landings. And, you know, we have seen 2 routines so far from Ravelli and Noonan. Neither of them sticks. And for Kentucky, Anastasia, to get in that mid-197 range where they really want to be, especially in a road meet, this is a crucial score potentially for them. They need these sticks.
The landing will determine the outcome of this competition, and for the rest of the season, to me right now, they're looking like they're trying a little bit too hard on these landings. And you can see now as Haley Davis, she is waiting a little bit. It's so important for these athletes just to keep on moving.
And so finally she does get the go-ahead.
Watch how floaty she is on the bar. Hits that bail handstand right on top. One of the best double layouts in the country. We just witnessed it. Her legs, her heels are completely glued together, and she just landed on that mat like a dart. Let's take a look at this again. Watch her execution in the air. Beautiful alignment, and just completely sticks that landing. That's exactly what this Kentucky team needed.
Yeah, Tim Garrison was excited about that landing. First stick of the match for Kentucky. We are still waiting on the score to come in for Ryan Noonan, though. And in the meantime, here is the Hungarian international Csenke Bacskói following a 9.85.
She'll be doing a 10.0 start value vault. That was a 1.5, Yurchenko 1.5, and she almost got that stuck landing. Let's check this out one more time. Watch how high she gets. Beautiful execution, much improved athlete on this vault, and just missed it by a hair, and which resulted in that step backwards.
Yeah, just that tiny step, though. Bacskói, who qualified for the Paris Olympics on vault, has really been a big part of that lineup. The Nebraska transfer came over from the Huskers along with a couple of assistant coaches as well, Alexei Koltikov and Marissa King, the husband-wife duo. Marissa, former Olympic medalist with Great Britain. Here's Jillian Prakaski, who is doing the all-around in this competition for the first time since Nationals back in 2023. Only really competed bars last year. Did some vault at the end of the season, but she is really getting the opportunity now as she goes in on bars. Had a 9.8 last week and follows Haley Davis's 9.925. That's more like it.
She'll be doing a combination right here, a Maloney immediate down back salto. And a lot of athletes, you'll be seeing that combination a lot throughout the competition, and it actually limits the amount of handstands you'll see in a bar routine. Just the dismount here, another beautiful executed double layout, but just missed that stuck landing a little bit, had a little bit too much power. Would have loved to see her absorb that landing and flare it out a little bit more.
Our first look at Addie Wall, who has been a huge contributor for Georgia. One of those star sophomores along with Lily Smith, part of that #1 recruiting class a couple of years ago. Botchkoi's score just came in after a bit of a judges conference at 9.8. This has been a really consistent vault lineup so far.
You'll see another 1.5. Just missed that landing again, but she did such a good job with her head position. Check this out, she spots, hits the table, you can see her spotting the floor and then spotting the front of the mat. Just that slight step backwards that we can expect a deduction on the final score.
We'll have to see what the judges do with that. I'm surprised to see Botchkoi's score come in at 9.8. Form looked great. She took a little step, a little low there. All right, so Jillian Prakaski's score about to come in. Delaney Rodriguez is next up here on bars, the sophomore from Las Vegas. One of now 3 all-arounders, along with the gymnast in the anchor spot for Kentucky, as well as Prakaski. Skylar Kilo-Wilhelm will see her to finish things up here in the first rotation for Kentucky. But first, Rodriguez. 4 of her last 6 bars routines have been 9.85 or better.
And I love to be seeing her later on the lineup. She usually leads this team off, but what an opportunity for Delaney to showcase what she's made of later in the lineup for this Kentucky team. Hits that handstand. That is exactly what this Kentucky team needed, and that is what brought Delaney. She is such a consistent athlete. She loves the pressure. Check this out right here. This bail handstand hits right on top. And just this dismount, beautiful double layout, legs together, pointed toes, and holds that landing.
Back to vault, Anaya Smith, the national runner-up on vault last year. Transferred in from Arizona State before the season. Just a 9.75 last week, has already gone over 9.9 twice this season.
She can do big gymnastics here. Watch this. Another 10.0 start value vault, but she did unfortunately take that step backwards. She under-rotated a little bit on that. She did have a slight shoulder angle, which limited her amplitude in the air, which resulted in that backward step.
Here is Skylar Kilo-Wilhelm. Her final season, originally from West Des Moines, Iowa. Mentioned that she competed at Washington before transferring before this season to Kentucky. Had a 9.85 in the anchor spot last week against LSU. Delaney Rodriguez with a 9.875. So far the high score, Haley Davis, and you can see the score on the score tower on the right side of your screen that's grayed out. That is the one that the teams are looking to drop. Right now it's Ryan Noonan's 9.7.
This is going to be the first E difficulty skill that we'll see this routine so far. An E represents the difficulty of these athletes' elements. Hits that handstand right on top. And what's crazy, Alex, is that she learned that bar dismount this season, and she just did it beautifully. So impressive, and it says a lot about her drive, her dedication, and also how this Kentucky team has really allowed these athletes to develop and grow even in college.
And welcome to those of you just watching a huge upset in women's hoops. With Ole Miss taking down LSU, we are in Athens this afternoon into early evening to witness the end of the SEC schedule in gymnastics. It's Georgia and Kentucky with a top 10 matchup, two very evenly matched teams. We already about one rotation in, and it has been a very, very close matchup. Alex Perlman with the four-time national champion Anastasia Webb. And Anastasia, this has been a really great start, I think, for both of these teams. Exactly what they were looking for, and certainly some landings dialed in on Kentucky's side.
I would say both of these teams, they really got to make it to the next level, and what's really going to take is that those landings, those executions. I know that both of these coaches have put emphasis on those landings, and they're really looking forward to making that have an edge.
Yeah, I think so, and as you look at the SEC standings, this is entering today, so it has the results from Friday, which means that Alabama has passed Arkansas at the bottom. You have to be in the top 8 out of 9 in order to make the SEC championships this year. The top 4 get to compete in the evening session. The bottom 4 compete in the afternoon. It's all important, and right now Georgia's just on the outside looking in, but perhaps with a great score today, they could make their way into the evening session. Just underway, and glad you are with us here on a Sunday evening in Georgia.
Movie. It's kind of sad, but I love Marley and Me. My favorite gymnast growing up was definitely either Gabby Douglas or Shawn Johnson. Favorite TV show growing up, oh my gosh, That's So Raven. One thing I can't live without is my dog. My favorite singer is definitely Morgan Wallen. One thing people probably don't know about me is that I have hammer thumbs.
But we certainly know that she can vault with the best of them. Has already earned 2 10-0s on vault in her career, both coming last year. She had back-to-back 9-9s, and they update the score now with Kentucky at 49-225. All right, so leading Georgia by just a 10th and a quarter. This has been a really tight one, but everybody's looking forward to seeing Mackenzie Wilson on vault for sure.
She is just such a consistent athlete for this Kentucky team. I mean, she is top 15 in the nation on the vault. It's definitely going to be exciting, and I know this Kentucky team are depending on her for that stick.
Kentucky 49-175 last week against LSU on vault, the 6th strongest team in the country on this apparatus. So this is somewhere that they can really gain a lot of ground. Their NQS coming in a 49-255. That is very, very solid. And now Jillian Prakaski making her season debut on vault. According to head coach Tim Garrison, has been really consistent. She features a big Yurchenko full. It's a 9.95 start value here.
These fulls are going to be critical in this rotation here, starting off that 9.95 start value, and that was almost picture perfect for Jillian. She flared out her body, she opened her arms, which resulted in that beautiful stick, exactly what Kentucky needed.
Tell me what could have been better on that vault, because I'm speechless. Maybe a little off balance. I don't know. We'll see what the judges do with it, but that looked really good, and that is exactly what Kentucky was looking for. All right, here's Chenge Bachkoy. Made her bar season debut last week, had a career-high tying 9.85 when she was back in the leadoff spot like she is today.
Huge release move right here called a Van Leeuwen. Much improved. She kept her legs and heels glued together perfectly. Hits that blind full right on top. And tried way too hard to hold that landing, which allowed her to have that chest down a little bit. Judges will definitely take off for that break of her chest, but watch this right here. Great job with absorbing the landing. Honestly, sometimes it's better to take a step forward than to have a little bit of an arm swing and also that break in the chest.
Yeah, they'll take a few tenths off there for sure. The pike down. Cecily Rizzo, the sophomore, led off last week. She had a 9.725. This is also going to be a Yurchenko full 9.95 start value.
Beautiful execution in the air. I loved how she spotted the floor and then spotted the table. That really represents a great vaulter. Hits the table with straight arms, and you can see she spots the floor and then spots the front of the table. Great job for this Kentucky team.
And you know, sometimes it's better to just do really clean Yurchenko fulls than try Yurchenko 1.5 and take a big hop forward or under-rotate it. And that's what we're seeing from Kentucky. Really well executed. Jillian Prakaski got a 9.85 on vault. It's been tight. I don't think there's any other way to say it, right? The judging's been tight here today so far. Sadie Jane Berry to follow up Chenge Bachkoy. Berry, a freshman from North Carolina, at 9.85 last week. It was her first bars routine in almost a month, but back in the lineup, and actually Georgia hasn't changed the lineup at all. They had a season-high 49.475 last week, a team that just continues to get better.
Watch how clean and floaty she is on this event. Beautiful gymnastics. Beautiful picture-perfect handstand right there, no question. And just that dismount, just that slight hop forward.
That was kind of an exclamation point handstand. She held that for forever.
She's telling the judges, nope, not today.
All right, you see Kentucky ranked number 6 in the country, 4th in the NCAA, rather the SEC that is, behind LSU, Oklahoma, and Florida. This is somewhere that they have been great this year. Here's Mackenzie Wilson.
Watch this, a very different entry, a front handspring, pike half. And she held onto that landing. Beautiful pike half. I loved how she opened up her arms. Let's check another look at this. Watch her hand position. It's at the front of the table, which allows her to have a little bit more height. And she holds that landing. Such a veteran move. Just a slight little wobble of those knees, but other than that, that's exactly what Kentucky really needed, and such a dependable athlete.
So we'll see what that score comes in as after Rizzo's was a 9.8. 9.8 for Berry, so these scores are building, although you want these to be a little bit higher, more like the 9.8, 5.99 range. We'll see if Holly Snyder can do that. I mean, she's more than capable. A high flyer that's been so consistent recently.
I don't want you to miss this. Right here, huge release move that is called a church. I would have loved to see her catch with straight arms on that. Huge full twisting double back. And I loved how she kept her chest up high. Really performs with excellence on this apparatus. Check this out right here. Look how high she gets. Back down to the low bar, beautiful transition. Full twisting double back. And she holds onto that landing, no question.
Here's Isabella Magnelli, first time that we will see her tied with McKenna Smith of Utah for the number 7 spot in the NCAA vault leaderboard.
She will be doing the same vault that we just saw from Mackenzie Wilson. Wow.
It's another great vault here from Kentucky. This has been quite a rotation so far.
This is exactly what head coach Tim Garrison is looking for. Watch how she pops off the table, holds that landing, stares at the front of the table, no question. Has a different technique onto the horse, and look at her eyes. Right there, locked in, she knows it's great. This is exactly what Tim Garrison has been wanting from this Kentucky team.
That should be a big score here for Kentucky. They continue to build with nothing below 9-8. That's what they're dropping at the moment from Rizzo. Waiting on Holly Snyder's score following Botchkoy's 9-7-2-5 and 9-8 from Sadie Jane Berry. Addie, well, 9-8-7-5 last week. She does not have a score lower than 9-8-5 on bars this year. Talk about how consistent she has been.
And such a dependable athlete as well. She is always there for this Georgia team. She's known to have clean gymnastics. Hits that handstand. I think they're just trying a little bit too hard on these landings. I think they know that this competition really means a lot to them and that they want to beat that all-around score of a 197.3. So they're trying a little bit too hard.
SEC Women's Basketball Tournament begins Wednesday in Greenville. We got the first and second round games and the late quarterfinal games right here on SEC Network and the ESPN app. First round coverage, 10:30 a.m. Eastern with the SEC Now crew getting you set. Here's Skylar. Isabella Magnelli score a 9-9, the highest that we have seen from Kentucky today.
Yurchenko 1.5. Beautiful. She actually has never competed this vault until this year. Really such a dedicated and fierce athlete for this Kentucky team, constantly improving. Watch how she hits the table with straight arms, keeps her legs together, and just that over-rotation which resulted in that slight hop forward.
Here's Jeffrey Scott. 9-8 the score that comes in for Addie Wall. These two teams are neck and neck still. Not much separating them. She had a 9-8-7-5 last week.
She is a high flyer on this event.
Georgia's just fun to watch on bars this year.
They've got so much difficulty. Head coach Ryan Roberts says she's got so much in the bag for her. She's really just got to pay attention to those landings and executions. Overall, stunning gymnastics.
9-8-5 just came in for Kentucky's Skylar Killow-Wilhelm, and Delaney Rodriguez will close out this vault rotation. The sophomore from Las Vegas, coming off of a season-high 9-8 in the anchor spot last week. Back in the all-around once again. So dependable for the Wildcats, looking to make a big push and try to get into that mid-197 range in an away meet today.
They're really looking forward to a stick on this vault. And let me tell you, I just called it.
They just got it.
She is so cool and composed. And she's only a sophomore. The amount of gymnastics that she will be able to take for this Kentucky team is truly amazing. Watch this. She nails it. The only thing that I think that she could have been a little bit better on was a little bit more height off the table, but distance was incredible.
Now you don't want to miss Lily Smith here. Tied her career high, got a 9.95 for the second straight meet. The reigning SEC Freshman of the Year, who is more than capable of a 10-0 on bars, already has one in her career. Oh, wow. What a hold, though.
But right there, that just shows her determination. Do you know how that is such difficulty right there to hold a handstand, especially under this immense pressure, but she finishes it like nothing happened. That just shows how great of an athlete she is. Watch her grip on this. She holds those shoulders, does a great job gripping onto the bar, which allowed her to save that. Could have been a much bigger mistake. Her feet are glued together, spots the floor, and just holds her high head with confidence. I love watching Lily Smith. She is such an amazing athlete, and I cannot wait to watch the remaining of her career.
So Kentucky's final score on vault was a 9.775 for Delaney Rodriguez, and 49.225 after they drop Rodriguez's score. And the last one comes in for Smith of 49.175. Kentucky builds on its lead just a little bit, but it is still a very close meet. Two teams looking to put up big scores halfway home here at Stegeman Coliseum. And so far, Kentucky still with an advantage. Georgia's right into it after 2 rotations here in Athens, Georgia.
Especially when you have 6 freshmen.
It's really important for the upperclassmen to be able to lead as an example, keeping up the energy, allowing this young team to really understand who Kentucky is and how we compete.
Isabella McNally, she's a huge leader.
She talks to the entire team, and she talks loud.
I would say my leadership style is keeping energy, being positive, and also just being there for my teammates whenever they're having a rough day or having a good day.
As a freshman or a sophomore, it's hard to try and find those leadership roles because you are considered underclassmen, but on this team, whether you're a freshman or a senior, it really doesn't matter.
I think the entire senior class, we are all great leaders. We also have a 5th year, Skylar. She's been a great addition to this team.
Everybody has their own personality and their own way that they step into the leadership role.
This year I've really tried to step into the leader role of being vocal and trying to help the underclassmen.
What separates Kentucky from everybody else is obviously our unwavering support for each other.
Something that I'm really good at is just providing encouragement.
There's a sense that something needs to change from the individuals, and I think they've recognized it for one, and then they've stepped into those roles.
I forgot to wash my work shirt.
A big crowd in Stegeman Coliseum with the turnaround that we've seen from Georgia Gymnastics. Once again, the Gym Dogs are a must-have ticket here in Athens. 98.45 to 98.275 so far. Kentucky was really looking for that mid-197 score, and right now they are averaging below a 197, and so is Georgia. Let's be honest, the scoring has been a little bit tight, but both of these teams are looking to pick it up as we get into the second half of this competition, Anastasia.
I completely agree, but this can be the turnaround for both of these teams. Kentucky floor is actually one of their strongest events, and we got Georgia on the balance beam, which is also one of their strongest events. So if we could really crank up those scores, figure out those perfect elements that I know that they're both capable of, we could see that potential all-around score crank a little bit higher.
Georgia's going to be on beam. They had a season high 49.55 last week. Not only did they set their season high for a meet of 197.35, they also set new rotation high scores on bars and also on beam. Did not have a score below 9.85, and that one was dropped. Nia Howard tied her career high last week with a 9.9.
The startup position is so critical. It sets the stage, it sets the tone for this beam lineup. Solid back handspring layout step out. The goal of the starter is to achieve that 9.9 score, so the remaining athletes can continue to build on that score later in the lineup. Beautiful side aerial, completely owns this spot, really showing the judges that nothing can be taken off so far. Just this dismount, gainer full. Loved how she flared her hips. Typically gymnasts pike down on that landing, but she did not. Gorgeous gymnastics. Watch that flare in the air, holds that landing, arms completely stable. You can see on the smile on her face, she's excited. You know, I'm banking on that 9.9 start. That was amazing.
So here is Jillian Prakaski to lead off Kentucky on floor, tied for 12th in the country with Michigan State and Stanford. 49.425 last week. And Jillian started off with a 9.775 a week ago. Senior from Austin, Texas.
front layout, front full. Loved how she just continued to dance out of that combination pass. Very difficult leap series. Judges are looking for each and every leap to hit 180 degrees and also complete the full turnaround. Double tuck. I loved how she kept her heels and her feet glued to that mat. She could have easily had a little wobble or a little stumble on that, but she clearly held that together. Watch this last pass right here. Round off back handspring, huge double tuck, and how she just holds that landing. That mat you see there, right there, that is not a deduction. That is protecting these athletes on those landings, especially going into the postseason.
Late change here in the number 2 slot for Georgia. Brooke Gleichowski appeared to injure herself during touch warm-ups on the beam. So we are going to get our first and only look, potentially, at Harley Tomlin, the daughter of Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin.
Well, you know what? This is an opportunity for her to take advantage of and to grow and to really use this pressure to her advantage. Sometimes it is so difficult just to be thrown into these lineups unexpectedly. But so far, she is handling this pressure with grace.
Can you almost use it as a positive? Because you don't really have much time to think about it, do you? I mean, you just got to get right up there on the beam and start performing.
Not at all, and she just completed a triple series as if she's been in this lineup from the very beginning. But this is what these athletes have been training for all season long, an opportunity to showcase their beautiful gymnastics. So I'm excited to see her. Talk about teamwork and resilience. That was an impressive beam routine. And just that slight hop forward. Let's take a look at this injury. I know she's going to be so disappointed. Ooh. That triple series is so difficult. If you're crooked on that first back handspring, typically the remaining of the flips you will also be crooked on. I hope she's okay and hope to see her later in the season.
All right, Jillian Prokaski with a 9.85 to lead off Kentucky. Here is Bella McNelly, 9.875 for the second straight meet last week.
Not only is she a performer on this event, but she's also a fashionista. You see that leotard that she's wearing? She's actually designed it. Overextension on those leaps, and when I was talking to her earlier, I asked her, you know, you got engaged earlier this season. Are you going to design your wedding dress? And she told me, you know, I really wanted to, but she told us a little secret that her dress actually looks a little bit similar to this leotard.
She calls it the Ciao Bella. Yeah, just didn't have enough time before the wedding in order to design her own, but she would have.
I love also her expression. She really feels the music and embodies it. Last pass here for her. Great back handspring, double pike. She knows it was great. This is what exactly Kentucky really needed to boost their momentum, to boost those scores. Watch this height, that snap. She could have stumbled a little bit more on that landing, but she really held it together. Such a veteran for the senior.
And here is Anya Turner. This is an event that really Georgia does excel at, and so does Anya, the SEC co-specialist of the week, coming off a career-high 9.975.
Last season, she competed in all 12 meets on beam. She is such a staple for this Georgia team, especially on this apparatus. Check this out, triple series here. Extremely difficult. And that smile honestly just tells it all. Was a little bit crooked on that switch leap. It's super important on each and every skill to have alignment with your arms. Your arms tell everything about a skill in gymnastics. The placement of them leads the direction of you. Round off, 1.5. Does a great job holding onto that landing on her little tippy toes. Watch this right here. Back handspring, layout, layout. You can see her hips are floating on each and every one of those skills. Just this dismount here, holds until that round off 1.5. No question. Can't wait to see more greatness from her.
Yeah, should be a good score coming in for Anya. And now Delaney Rodriguez. Isabella Magnelli's score comes in at a 9.825. Again, Kentucky is pushing for that 9.9 range. Will they get there here with Delaney, who moved down from the leadoff spot to the number 3 slot? Every routine this year between 9.8, 9.875. See if she can push the threshold.
Beautiful combination pass. She kept her heels, her legs completely glued together. I was talking to Raina Worley before the competition, and she said this is finally a routine that Delaney has been able to fully express herself with and really show her confidence just ooze out of her body. Last pass here for Delaney. A round off 1.5, punch half. I loved, and the judges are looking exactly for those combination passes for the second skill to be higher than the first, and that's exactly what she did.
Next Saturday, final day of the SEC men's basketball regular season. All 16 teams are in action. 5 of the games right here on SEC Network and the ESPN app. The day starting with Mississippi State and Arkansas in Fayetteville, noon Eastern, and it closes out with the Red River rivalry, 8 o'clock, Oklahoma and Texas. Jeffrey Scott follows up Anya Turner's 9.875. Jeffrey had that exact same score last week.
And you can hear the Michael Jackson music in the background. I remember as an athlete, I actually would try to dance to the background music when I was performing. It calmed me down.
Even on the road.
Even on the road.
Talk about an adjustment.
She is such a stellar athlete. Beautiful connections, no doubt. Judges are looking for those connections to be smooth, quick, precise. Overextension of those leaps and jumps above 180 degrees.
Here's the moonwalk. Oh, what a fan favorite. The 8th straight gym dog to perform it on beam. I love the jolt of energy the crowd gives her. Can she stick this dismount? Come on. What a routine.
I'm applauding for her because that was truly amazing. The confidence that she has. This crowd is going wild for her. Check this out. I mean, maybe she does it a little bit better than Michael Jackson. Beautiful dismount, very unique. A front handspring into a front full and just shows off her excellence. Great job.
Well, her career high is a 9.9. We'll see if she betters that here. Skylar Killow-Wilhelm now following up the 9.925 from Delaney Rodriguez. So that's a new season high for this sophomore. Skylar qualified to nationals as an individual in the all-around last season with her former team, Washington. Gone as high as 9.975 in her career on floor.
She just did a front handspring double full, extremely difficult front pass. This routine really shows off her flexibility. Check out these leaps. Very difficult. Judges are looking for that ring split to be above her head. Extremely difficult. Round off 1.5 punch layout. Excellent job for Skylar. Beautiful gymnastics, really showcasing what she has really brought to this Kentucky team. Let's look at those leaps that I was talking about. Switch leap, that swing right there is so critical. And look at that flexibility that she shows off, just that finishing on that cherry on top. I wish I had that much flexibility when I competed.
That's pretty impressive. Kara Aker, now the junior from Kansas City. Jeffrey Scott ties her career high with a 9.9. Kara had a 9.925 last week. 3 out of 4 of her routines with Georgia have gone 9.9 or higher. This is one of the best in the country. One of the best. I mean, the way she's performed this year, you would certainly say in college gymnastics, if not beyond.
She is just so elegant on this apparatus. Really takes ownership of this event. You see that right there? That was actually, it could have been a mistake in her dance move, but she made it look like her choreography. These athletes are prepared to have backup dance, backup skills. And she just rocks it out of the park. A solid side aerial layout step out. Extremely difficult.
It's great to see her just back and enjoying gymnastics again. One of the alternates for the United States in the Tokyo Olympics. I mean, she's finishing out her career the right way, and everybody wants to see that.
And I'm sure she's super excited to be on this team with Cecile. Beautiful, gainer full.
You just hit the dab too? How about she just hit the dab?
She did just do the dab.
Not bad. She knew.
Watch this mount here, extremely difficult. A switch leap to a step leap onto the beam. And that side aerial layout step out, completely focused, completely aligned. And just that swing to that gainer full. I would have loved to see her leg swing a little bit higher, which allowed a little bit more amplitude on that dismount, but overall, great gymnastics.
All right, in today's edition of Ridiculous Stats, Kreslin Brose has scored 9.9 or better in 84% of her career floor routines, 16 out of 19, and she had a season high 9.95 last week.
I mean, Alex, look at her expression. I mean, she owns the floor. I mean, she creates this watch me moment I'm completely invested into this routine because of her expression and the way she completely grabs me in. It's great.
Yeah, she was made for this event.
She'll be ending here with an E pass. E represents the difficulty of the skills. Actually, she'll be ending it after that second pass. This is the E pass right here. A front handspring double full. We saw her teammate Skylar start with that pass, and here she is ending with that pass. That talks a lot about her endurance, her execution, everything that she brings to this floor. Watch this, front handspring double full, holds that finish. That is definitely a routine to celebrate on.
Here is Lily Smith, the anchor on beam here for Georgia. She had just a 9.85 in the anchor spot last week. Kara Akers' score came in 9.875, and I'm not sure if you could hear it, but a loud boo erupted throughout Stegman Coliseum. They're getting a little tired of what they've seen, I think, so far today.
With judging being a little bit more difficult, I think it allows for these athletes to really be even more perfect. Just say, hey, I'm gonna try even a little bit harder so you can't take anything off on this. And honestly, Lily Smith really represents that type of dynamic. She commands your attention on this balance beam. Beautiful execution, extremely difficult gymnastics. Especially on this skill. Front pike toss. Typically athletes land with their chest down, but she completely lands with that skill, completely vertical.
Regardless, this is going to be a very strong beam rotation because Harley Tomlin's 9.8 is the score they're currently dropping. That's going to be higher than that.
That routine definitely needs a higher score. That was incredible, such beauty, grace, and everything that she's done for this program. You can see the crowd, her teammates yelling and screaming for a 10-0 start, 10-0 score. Let's see if she'll get it.
They want a 10. I'm not sure she's going to get it on that one, but Haley Davis might here on floor. This is what we're about to see. This is her new floor routine this year, titled Ladies of the 80s. Has always been a rocker thanks to her late dad, and this is one of my favorite routines in college gymnastics right here.
She has earned this anchor spot. A huge first tumbling pass. Watch how high she gets on these leaps and jumps. No question, gets completely around.
And this followed up Kreslin Broses' 9.95 for the second straight week.
This Kentucky team is really looking forward to building each and every single routine. Huge 1.5 to that front layout. Last pass here. Sky high, double tuck, just floats into that landing.
That is exactly what Kentucky was looking for to close out a very good floor rotation. Right now at just 49-4 without dropping another score.
Watch how high she gets on this double tuck and just completely opens it up and then just finds that landing, no problem. And the pride when she competes is fantastic. I love what she's done to transform this Kentucky program, and she is forever a woman of rock on the floor exercise.
Yeah, she rocked that out. Lily Smith score in 9.95. So Georgia with another good beam rotation, 49.475. I mean, they continue to be really strong on that event. They're averaging 49.394 over the last 4 meets coming in. And if that was their average for the season, they'd be only behind Oklahoma. I mean, that's how strong they have been. As we wait on one more score to come in for Kentucky, it's at least a 49.4, and it will go down as a 49.4. Haley Davis's came in at a 9.8. And so Georgia gets into Kentucky's score just a little bit. Now it's only a 10th lead for the Wildcats. It's really heating up now in Athens. SEC Women's Gymnastics is presented by Sprouts Farmers Market, official healthy grocer of the Southeastern Conference. Well, Georgia with a 49.475 on beam, that's their second highest score of the season, has cut this deficit to just 1/10 after 3 rotations here at Stegeman Coliseum.
Just does it so well.
It's top-notch excellence every single time.
Big time gymnastics here.
That was amazing.
There's no resting in the SEC.
Do it, do it, do it, do it. You can do it. Watch me move up, down, side to side. Feel alive, on a roll, no surprise. Everybody wanna try. You know I'm loving
Conference, our first 10 on vault in college gymnastics this season when Selena Harris-Miranda of Florida did it. Jordan Bowers with her 5th all-around title this season. Alabama, though, they got the score that they really needed, Anastasia, against Arkansas to try to vault their way into the SEC championships.
It makes the competition a little bit more exciting than it really already was, but that is exactly what they needed to create more of an edge for them to have that opportunity to compete in the SEC championship. And I'm really looking forward to the remaining of this competition.
We've got the 4th and final rotation still to come. Kentucky will go to the balance beam. Georgia finishes on floor trying to win it. It's still anybody's meet. Tonight, 8 Eastern, right here on SEC Network and on the ESPN app. We have a 3.5-hour best of this weekend's SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. The Arkansas Razorbacks, the defending champion, both men's and women's. Could they repeat this year? Well, you find out after we are done in Athens. One more rotation still to go. Kentucky is up, though, just by 1/10. What that is a wobble on beam. That's 1 step on floor. That is how close this is right now. Kentucky 49.325 last week. This is the 13th ranked beam rotation in the country. They are capable of really good scores. Delaney led off last week's rotation with a 9.8. It's her lowest beam score since the season opener.
Talking to head coach Tim Garrison, he said the identity of this Kentucky team is consistency. And what's so spectacular about this Kentucky team is that 4 out of the 6 routines are from underclassmen. Great job holding on to that triple series. That could have been a bigger mistake than it was, but she had her eyes at the end of the beam, which really allowed her to hold on to that landing.
And right now, Delaney is up by just a 0.5 over Skylar Killow-Wilhelm and Jillian Prakaski for the all-around lead.
Just the dismount here, a round off 1.5. And despite that small little wobble on that triple series, she just nails it out of that park on that dismount. Great job.
Not really much else than that. We'll have to see what the judges thought. Georgia's going to go to floor. 18th in the country on floor. This is actually their lowest ranked event, so trying to hit a bit more of their stride. Co-head coach Cecile Concato-Landi told us that they hit a bit of a mid-season slump on floor. Team's been a little tired, but they are getting that back now. Georgia, by the way, needs a 49.25 for a 197. Kentucky just a 49.15. But again, Anastasia, they are looking for much better scores than that, trying to get big fourth rotations here.
This is an opportunity for them to really put their A game on and really, like we've been saying on this whole broadcast, really focus on those landings, because that will really ultimately determine the outcome of this competition.
The low scores to drop in this competition for both teams. Georgia wants to drop a 196.825, which they are certainly on their way to doing that. Kentucky trying to drop just a 196.5 at the Sprouts quad earlier in the season. That's only because they don't have enough away scores. So that's going to go away, most likely.
Last pass here for Erin Williams. She really needs to find that landing on that double tuck, and she does. That front foot is so important, making sure there's no movement on it so the judges can't take anything off. Great start for this Georgia team. Now they just got to keep building from here. Check this out right here. Watch her front foot in particularly. Huge distance, great height, and does not move.
That should set Georgia up for a very strong floor rotation. Kreslin Brose now number 2 to go for Kentucky on beam. A 9.85 for Rodriguez in the leadoff spot. And Brose is coming off tying her own career high with a 9.925 last week.
And not only is she such a competitor on the floor exercise, you can see her dance and her execution on this beam routine. Such a difficult punch front. Lands with her chest completely vertical, exactly what the judges are looking for. And a very clean, smooth connection. She's holding every single finish. You can actually see her talking to herself, giving her her cues. And as gymnasts, we tend to talk to ourselves. Either you listen to the music in the background to try to calm down those nerves.
Are you talking to yourself in the gym or also outside the gym?
Both.
In your room at night?
Just a dismount here, a round off, 1.5. And she held that stuck landing with excellence. She deserves an award for that beam routine. Watch her connection, so smooth. Not a single break in that connection. And watch this dismount. The height keeps her legs completely glued together. They were not crossed, and she holds that landing.
That's what Kentucky was looking for to build on Delaney Rodriguez's 9.85. Here is Holly Snyder. This is kind of a battle of some of the best rock floor routines in the country. You had Haley Davis closing out Kentucky's, and now Holly Snyder following the 9.85 from Erin Williams.
Massive combination pass.
There's something so great about the leap out of the pass. It's a fun way to end a pass for me.
Well, it actually allows the gymnast to not take any deductions on the landing. When I was competing, I actually completed every single landing with a jump.
That's kind of my question, like, why wouldn't you, right?
I think every athlete should jump out of them. But it's also so critical about the timing on the floor when you hit it, too. She is just an electric performer on this event. Massive double pike in the air. She finishes it with a statement.
Inside Stegeman Coliseum, rock and roll very much not dead yet.
Watch how much power she's got. Front 1.5 to that huge double stack. And watch her feet in the air, completely glued together, toes pointed, holds that front foot down. Just the cherry on top.
That should be really good, and Holly coming off of tying her career high with a 9.9 last week. Now to Sharon Lee, her only event, 9.75 last week, but followed up a fall from the meet before that. We're staying on the beam. We'll try to do much better here if Kentucky wants to upset Georgia, as well as get their first ever win in Stegeman Coliseum. Georgia's 95-1 against Kentucky in their history.
Another outstanding triple series. You know, Alex, I will say this Kentucky team on beam, even though that they're ranked 16th in the nation, I believe they have the most difficult beam squad in the nation. They are just fully invested in this beam lineup. Really shows off their execution, their beauty, and also their difficulty in every single beam routine. Just the dismount here, another round off 1.5. I would have loved to see her legs a little bit glued in the air, but you can see that she's excited for how she performed on that beam routine. Just that slight leg separation, a little bit crossed in the air. Judges can take about 1 to 2 tenths on that, but definitely did a great job.
Jane Gay Botchkoy now. They dropped her 9.075 last week. Watch for her first pass because she fell on it a week ago. Before that, every score was 9.825 or better on floor this year. She's a former Hungarian national champion on floor. And you can see as the scores come in, remember that Georgia's trying to make up a single tenth going into this fourth rotation. So you can kind of compare and contrast what scores are coming in. See Rodriguez Bros 9.8599, Williams 9.85, Snyder 9.875. So right now, Kentucky is doing what it needs to do in order to win this meet and trying to boost those scores even higher.
The pressure is on, and I will say if anyone can handle the pressure most, it's definitely Chen Gay. She's been able to compete on that Olympic level. And she also does elite gymnastics on the floor exercise. Check this out, run off back handspring, full twisting, double tuck, has no problem on that, but she did have a little bit too much power on that landing.
The judges will take off for that front foot coming up.
Great extension on those leaps and jumps. This music kind of sets the tone of this arena, really showing the intense competition between these two teams. This is an extremely difficult last pass here.
Oh, has stayed on her feet, but that's going to be the score that Georgia needs to drop in order to win this meet.
She hit the floor with her feet a little bit too in front of her, which resulted in her to not have enough momentum in that front tuck. You can tell she is disappointed on that fall, but it's, you know, us gymnasts, we're human. We make mistakes, it's gonna happen. But I know we're also such high competitors and we're perfectionists that we want to be perfect every single time.
All right, so we will see if Jillian Prakaski can take advantage. And she's replacing Chesney Bennett in the lineup, the freshman. First beam routine for Prakaski since late January, and that sent her into the all-around competition.
She did a really good job having a super quick connection. She had a slight break. I'm curious to see what the judges are going to do with that.
Sharon Lee's score was a 9.875. At the moment, they are dropping Rodriguez's 9.85. You see it grayed out in the leadoff spot for Kentucky on beam.
The pressure is definitely on for this Kentucky team. Let's see if she can hold that landing. She really needed it. Did a great job wrapping that up. Check this out. She swings that front foot forward, making sure it's straight. That's exactly what the judges are looking for, and holds that landing.
Did get the stick there. Botchko has scored 9.475, so that is definitely the one that they want to send away. And they have 3 competitors to finish that are capable of really big scores. Addie Wall's career high on floor at 9.925.
Another athlete with big gymnastics here. Check this out. First pass. The same first pass that we saw Chengay do, and she just did it with perfection. She's got this spark about her when she competes. Coach Cecile Landy says sometimes she lives in the shadow of some of the other star athletes on this team, but she is just such a dependable underdog athlete for this Georgia Gym Dogs.
Georgia just seems so confident this year, like they're competing freely and having a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can see it while they perform. Check this out. Last pass here, front tuck through to a double tuck.
That's a great routine.
I loved how she kept her chest up high. You can see Cecile cheering in the background. That is exactly what Georgia needed after a mistake from Chengay. Watch this last pass. Front tuck, shoots her legs, perfect timing. Brings her chest right up vertical. And you can see it on the expression of her face, that little head nod to the judges saying, watch out.
Should definitely be the best score that we've seen for Georgia on floor. And now they are dropping Prakaski's 9.75 on beam. Kentucky sends up Skylar Killow-Wilhelm, finishing out the all-around competition. Had a 9.9 last week against LSU, her 5th straight beam score of 9.85 or better. Skylar needs a 9.925, and she wins the all-around competition outright.
Watch how smooth that connection. Oh! Wow. A very
inopportune timing right there.
Yeah, it was very uncharacteristic of her, and you can see that she needs to repeat the skill in order to get enough bonus. Come on.
Oh. I mean, it's 5/10 right there just for the fall. So The good news is that nothing below a 9.75, but they are going to have to count Jillian Prakaski's 9.75. You do get to drop the lowest score out of the 6.
I have never seen Skylar perform that series like she did. But you know what? She is able to get back up there, repeat those skills. And currently now, she is holding every single landing with perfection. Side aerial, 1.5, extremely difficult. Definitely not what she wanted and not what she expected, but these athletes, they really can take it as a learning opportunity to grow and to continue to build, especially with Isabella Magnelli coming up in that 6th position.
Yeah, she can put up a massive score, but right now Kentucky's going to be a bit disappointed. They can't match their season high of 197.3. They are going to be able to drop this 196.5. So that's the good news, is that they continue to build throughout this season. They have been really consistent, but they are looking to break into that mid-197s. Again, part of that has to do with the judging, though. It's out of their hands. Nyla Aquino had her 3rd straight score of 9.9 plus on floor last week with a 9.925. And look at her landings now. See if she dials them in like she has been recently. I mean, she's figured it out, don't you think? She had so much power earlier on in her career.
Most definitely, and she's just a freshman. She has unstoppable and limitless potential for this Georgia team. I mean, she's just got huge gymnastics. She's got a lot of competition underneath her belt, which allowed her to have a little bit more experience as she continues to excel in her career. Watch these leaps right here. Full extension, completely all the way around. And talk about the endurance from Nyla, the ability to dance, perform, and also flip with such huge gymnastics. Says a lot about the strength of this team. She tried to hold on to that landing on that double pike. I would say she did have a little slide on her front foot.
Right.
But other than that, what a performance for the freshman.
Co-head coach Ryan Roberts told us she just has the it factor. She's going to be an all-arounder pretty soon.
Watch how high she gets.
Oh, my goodness.
She opens.
Gonna walk underneath her.
In the air. And let's check out this front foot here. Huge double pike. Watch that slide right there. The judges will definitely be taken off for that slide for a little bit. I would say half of a 10th.
Might take a little while before Isabella Magnelli can go up. But Magnelli, a 9.95 to finish out a strong beam rotation from last week, ranked number 4 in the country. And you can see just how good she has been throughout her career. It's going to be odd not to see her competing on beam. Kind of, you know, to the same level of like Arena Worley, who is still, of course, on the staff. She's the last assistant coach. But Isabella has been, I mean, such a part of Kentucky as the score comes in here for Nyla Aquino. And Stegman Coliseum reacting, a 9.925. And that's exactly what they needed. Remember, down by just a 10th coming into this 4th and final rotation with Lily Smith to come on floor. This is taking so long, by the way, because you have to determine what the start value is going to be in order for Skylar Killow-Wilhelm to get a score, right, Anastasia? And it can take time because of the fall. Generally, you see these judges' conferences when that happens.
100%. They need to figure out what the start value will be, what the execution will be from a fall like that. But also, Isabella Magnelli, you know, she could definitely handle this pressure. She's got to move her body, get water, focus on herself, not really focus on how long the judges are taking. And also, we've talked to head coach Tim Garrison. Not only is she such an incredible athlete for Kentucky, but has really grown into that leadership role. She's the athlete that gets the girls in the locker room, gets them in the huddle, pumps them up, figures out what they need to do to be the best Kentucky team that they're capable of being. And that represents Isabella Magnelli, not only a beautiful gymnast, but also a leader.
All right, the green flag goes up. Bella salutes, and Kentucky will finish out beam. 8-8-5 is the score for Schuyler, so that is the one they are certainly looking to drop.
She is ranked 4th in the nation on the balance beam. Watch how fast and quick she is. Holds onto that landing. Prevented that wobble, but I will say she has such a finesse about her. And that's what makes her such an incredible beam worker. You can just see head coach Jim Garrison over there just smiling at her. The way that she performs.
Tim stays as far as he can away from beam. I mean, you can see literally as far away because that is his wife Rachel's discipline. You can see her when this routine finishes.
The dismount right here, swings that foot. That's right, she needed that score, and Kentucky needed that comeback to boost their confidence and to replace Schuyler's uncharacteristic mistake. Back handspring, layout. 3 flips, really did a great job. She had a little bit of a wobble on those arms, but again, holds on to that landing, precise in her arm position, holds up that number 1 in her fingers, and great performance.
So no matter what Isabella's score is, Kentucky could not put this competition out of reach. Lily Smith is going to have a chance here. The reigning SEC Freshman of the Year, it's on her shoulders, somewhere she has been time in and time out.
Lily is capable of a 10.0 on this event. Her career high is a 9.95. Let's see if she can repeat that tonight. Beautiful front handspring double full. You can see the confidence in her eyes of how she's performing, the beauty of her flexibility. Really takes advantage of it on this apparatus.
There have been a lot of greats in this program with 10 national championships in its history. Lily's going to go down as one of them.
Wow. She held onto that stuck landing, did not move. I mean, this era of Georgia gymnastics has really grown. It has empowered, it has developed, and you can really see these athletes bring their confidence to the floor. Beautiful extension.
It's in the judges' hands now, Anastasia. 9-9-2-5. Georgia wins. 9-9 they tie. Sub 9-9. Kentucky wins for the first time in Stegman Coliseum.
Everybody is on their feet in this arena. People are on the tip of their seats to see the score of Lily Smith.
What a meet here inside Stegman Coliseum. Wall-to-wall action. This hasn't been decided any rotation by more than 2.5 tenths. We wait. Georgia hopes, and it is a 9-9-2-5. Georgia wins it on the final routine. Lily Smith is the hero for the Bulldogs.
Such an outstanding athlete. There is so much more potential for both of these teams also in the near future. They really got to focus on those landings, those executions like we've been talking about. But that is such an exciting moment for Lily Smith to put that cherry on top, to finish out the meet with confidence.
Kentucky comes up just short, but both teams with a 197 plus. The the 4th straight for Georgia, the 5th straight for the Wildcats. What a win for Lily Smith and Georgia. We will talk to her when we come back to the Classic City. An absolute thriller. Georgia getting that final score of Lily Smith on floor to finish it off with a 197-2 to 197-15. And we are joined by Lily. Lily, Alex, and Anastasia back with you. Not just Lily, really the entire Bulldog team. I think that just shows how close you guys are as a unit this year. This team seems a little different than we've seen in years past. What is the difference in your mind?
Honestly, just the coaching staff has just really changed our mindset a lot, and we're just focused on different stuff this year. And this team comes into the gym every single day, giving 100%, even if we're feeling tired or anything. We're putting in the work, and it's showing off. So, super excited.
Lily, congratulations on an outstanding performance on the floor.
Thank you.
What are you going to take from this experience tonight, leading into LSU next meet?
Just keep getting better. I'm so hard on myself, so I can always figure out when something isn't right. So just going back in the gym with the same mindset we've had this whole season and just working extra hard.
Lily, how are you feeling? I know you had that hand injury early on in the year, but it seems like, that you're performing at Lily Smith type levels right now.
Yeah, the injury in the beginning was definitely rough. Definitely set me back a little bit, but my coaches and trainer were super good with me and let me come back slowly, and I'm feeling really good. So.
Lily, what would you say is your proudest moment for this competition tonight?
Probably my floor. I didn't know I needed that score to get the win. So just seeing us getting the win and my team just behind me cheering me on, it's just so happy. I'm so grateful to be a part of this team.
Lily, congratulations. Looking forward to what you guys do at the end of the regular season.
Thank you so much.
Because of Lily Smith's 9925 on floor, it is a win for her Bulldogs, and what a competition. Exactly what we were hoping for. Both teams go 197 plus here inside Stegman Coliseum and finish off the weekend on quite the high note. This has been the season of Georgia, maybe the biggest surprise for some, but not for everyone here in Athens. They knew what this team was capable of, and they are showing it. That will do it for us here in the Classic City. Thank you so much for joining us and making us a part of your Sunday evening as Georgia's able to take down Kentucky by the narrowest of margins. With Anastasia Webb for our SEC Network crew, I'm Alex Perlman saying so long and good night from Stegman Coliseum.